You're listening to episode 573 of the Father Bills Podcast. Welcome back. This week's episode is entitled Arrogance and Humility, given on the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time, 2016.
Do you know somebody who thinks that they are always right and always putting others down? In fact, they must always be right, period. Does it sound familiar? Are they judging others and concluding that the target of their critique is always in a negative fashion? Is there someone in your world who pretends to be humble in order to receive accolades and gain, thus false piety? How about someone who can't receive a compliment? I mean, just flat out, will not receive a compliment. It seems like humility, but it may very well be something else in disguise. How about someone who is always angry? Someone who is always complaining? Do you know someone who cannot receive or accept even a complaint, a critique from someone else? Now, they may know their talents and they may give thanks to God, but they despise everyone else who may have that same gift because they are the competition. They rejoice even in others' demise, and they cannot stand losing. They may grumble a lot and spread rumors. They don't listen and often talk over others while they are talking. They think that they are self-made, that all that has happened to them is because of their own effort. Now, by answering these questions, we ourselves run the risk of becoming those people for whom we're even speaking about, who are arrogant. This is like the Pharisee in the gospel. He not only proposed that he was righteous, and the culture would have accepted that he certainly is righteous. He can check mark all the boxes off. But did you catch that he was saying these things to himself, feigning talking to God, as if he was talking to God, pretending to talk to God? Now, on the other side of these things, do you know somebody who's truly humble? I mean, not the person who's always self-deprecating. Again, that could be false piety. It could be rejecting the gifts coming at them. But rather someone who knows that they are, in the eyes of God, someone that's loved, but broken. And they don't go around and making a scene about it. They receive gifts and they give gifts. They receive compliments and they give out compliments. They do not change who they are depending on who they're with. They are neither needy nor impatient. They rejoice in the company of the poor and the rich. They are impartial with whomever they socialize, though they do have a special place in their heart for the poor. They're aware that the Lord hears the cries of the poor, and that they may be called to be the hands of God for the poor. And so they are thankful for the gifts that they've been given, and they use them not just for themselves, but to serve others. They celebrate with others' accomplishments. When they suffer a loss, they seek out help and consolation from God and from others. They are good listeners and do not interrupt. They are very willing to recognize their shortcomings and sins and don't pretend. They are profoundly aware that they have many abilities, and they know that the source of all those abilities are from God, ultimately, and that they are not a self-made person, that yet they have cooperated with the gifts that they've been given to maximize them. Overall, they are happy and satisfied. They have a healthy sense of their accomplishments and failures, all of which they give thanks to God. They look in their past with all its bumps and bruises, and they're grateful for where they are now. They don't just give to needs, but recognize the need to give. This, my friends, is akin to the tax collector in the gospel. Now, if we are truly honest, we can find ourselves in both of these characteristics, these persons that Jesus talked about, the arrogant and the humble. And that's why we come to church, because we need the help. So how do we move forward towards humility, towards God, and away from our selfish and arrogant desires? As a priest, and I'm not a counselor, because counseling could be very well an excellent avenue. In the spiritual realm, I would recommend confession and the Eucharist. These two key sacraments. You could say hinges to the door of humility. Both require a humble heart to begin with. What do we do at the beginning of Mass? We confessed our sins generically here in the church, but knowing deeply inside what those things were. And when we go to confession, the sacrament of reconciliation, we actually confess those sins. So, but see, in these sacraments lies the potential to be open to Jesus, who knows everything about us. We then are open to God. And we can allow him then to, by his grace, perfect our broken nature. In these moments in our lives, eternity is made present, and we have the opportunity to see the infinitude of possibilities that God has for us. And finally, by such an encounter with God, we will know his perfect love for each one of us. And if we are careful, we then will be open to the reality of God, that he is God and that we're not. That we are made by him, not self-made, but made by him and for purpose and a calling, and through which we will find, through that calling, peace and joy. And so may we all spend some time this week, consider it homework, if you will, losing ourselves in order to find God. And in finding God, we will find ourselves.
Thank you again for listening to this episode of the Father Bales Podcast. If you'd like to contact me or have any questions at all, just go to my website, fatherbill.org, FRBILL.org. And there you can send me an email. You can also find links to my other social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have. And until next time, may God bless you and have a great week. Bye-bye.